morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, November 16th, 2015. I am Dave Biddle, and I am very happy to be joined by Jonah Booker. J-Book, it is finally Ohio State, Michigan State week. ESPN's College Game Day will be in the house. Buckeyes are favored by 13 points. I think a lot of people are surprised by that. Connor Cook listed as probable. I think he's going to play. He's a fifth-year senior from Ohio, but who knows how effective he will be? That is the question. First of all, are you surprised by the point spread, and just how do you see this one playing out?
I'm shocked. That's a huge point spread. You're talking about Michigan State, once the rankings comes out on Tuesday, is probably going to be hovering around the top 10. So you're telling me Vegas believes Ohio State is a 2-touchdown favorite over another top 10 team in conference who's only lost one game off a fluke bomb by Nebraska? I'm very surprised about that, but it's going to be a good one. I'm fired up about this one, Dave.
Yeah, and let's talk about Connor Cook. I'll be honest, I used to be skeptical about him. I used to hear people talk, especially after his redshirt sophomore year 2 years ago. That's when the talk started that he could be a first-round pick, and I was like, come on, you got to be kidding me. Kind of like I am about Christian Hackenberg now. I feel like I was right about that one. But Connor Cook, I was very skeptical, and now I look at him. I've watched him play a lot this year, J-Book, and he doesn't just look like a first-rounder. He looks like a top-5 pick. I mean, he's been putting the ball on the money. He's been cool under pressure. Just everything you would want in a college quarterback, NFL quarterback. But, man, that shoulder was just hanging by a thread, it looked like. Now, who knows? Maybe it's just one of those things that's like a stinger that he'll be okay. But he came back in the game, re-injured it, was not able to play. Now, maybe they were just saving him for Ohio State. That's what they're saying. We're just speculating here. We're just spitballing, but it doesn't look good for Connor Cook, or maybe he'll be okay. Just what's your take on Connor Cook?
I think it's worse than what they're leading on to the public, Dave. If you watch that Michigan State game, I don't even think he even started the game. So something's going on there. And then as soon as he gets in there, he takes a nasty hit. As you mentioned, that shoulder is dangling. It didn't look good at all. They tested it, and it was to the point that they were so concerned that they didn't know if the shoulder was going to be popping in and out of socket. You're talking about his throwing shoulder. You get a 300-pound in Diesel Washington landing on you, or Joey Bosa hitting you from the blind side. There's no telling, what's going to happen with that shoulder. So if I'm a Michigan State fan, I'm very concerned about the health of Connor Cook. Maybe that's why it's the 13-point spread. I think maybe Vegas is wise to this. I think if Connor Cook was healthy, or even if he was 90%, I couldn't imagine this being a 13-point spread. And obviously Vegas is not predicting what the score would be. They're trying to get action on both sides of the coin. I get that. But that has to be why this point spread is so high, is that Vegas thinks that Connor Cook is, even if he's going to play, he's not going to be the Connor Cook that we're used to seeing. Exactly. And if he is, think about this, Dave. Ohio State's defense is playing lights out right now. They're going to have the crowd behind them. The atmosphere is going to be electric. Michigan State players have already said that they've been preparing for Ohio State all year long. Ezekiel Elliott came out to the media and said, this is why you come to Ohio State to play in big games. Game day is going to be there. It's going to be prime time, 3:30. Everybody in the country is going to be watching. You're talking about Michigan State, who's saying their coaches are telling them if they handle their business in Columbus and run the table, they still have a shot to making it into the playoffs, winning the Big Ten East and beating a potential top 5 team in Iowa. So there's a lot at stake right now, and for Ohio State to be 13-point underdogs, maybe Vegas knows something that we don't know, but I'm very surprised at that opening line. I think it's going to drop down to probably around 10 once kickoff comes around.
Let's get your overall forecast of the Buckeyes right now. J.T. Barrett has started 2 games. They've looked very good in both of those games. People say that the offense didn't look that good against Illinois. First of all, Illinois was ranked 32nd in the country in total defense coming into that game. Ohio State should have had a touchdown on the opening drive. They had one called back, which was a good call. JT was down at the half-yard line. Then his entire body got in on a quarterback sneak, and unless you thought the ball disappeared, I don't know how the replay official didn't realize that was a touchdown. So they should have scored a touchdown on the opening drive. They still scored 28 points, put up a ton of yards. So, J-Book, you look at the 2 games that he started, Rutgers and Illinois, they've played very well. Penn State, even though he didn't start that game, he played the majority of the way. And once he did take over, they played very well against a good Penn State defense. So I think people are looking at the big picture, talking about total stats and everything. As you look forward at this Ohio State team, not just J.T. Barrett in the offense, but also factoring in the defense, how are you feeling about this Buckeye team going forward?
First, I want to start with the defense. You got to look at what the Silver Bullets are doing right now. I believe I was looking at the stats. Right now, Ohio State has the #1 scoring defense in all of college football. Those guys are absolutely shutting down the run. So when you got a defense that's playing with their hair on fire like Ohio State is right now, it definitely gives the offense the opportunity to really protect the football. Now, a lot of people say, hey, the offense is very vanilla right now. But if you look at it, Dave, do they really need to, open everything up against Illinois when they was absolutely dominating that football game? The score should have been about 35-3 once it was all said and done. They got that touchdown, reverse. But I agree with you. Ohio State is looking good. The defense is playing outstanding. One thing that is going to be a huge emphasis going forward is they do need to be more balanced. Urban Meyer mentioned it post-game. Ezekiel Elliott mentioned that they need to get the passing game going, which is going to open up the run more. Taylor Decker and Billy Price also mentioned it in their post-game comments that they can't win out running the ball 40, 45 times a game. They need to be able to open up the passing game. So for me, that's the one thing I want to see. How are they going to come out against Michigan State? Last year in November or October, J.T. Barrett torched them for over 300 yards in the air. Michigan State secondary is nowhere as good as it's been the last couple of years. So if Ohio State can really spread them out, let J.T. Barrett use his legs and his arm, I think Ohio State will be looking at Michigan coming down the pipeline for a chance to win the Big Ten East.
Yeah, my 77-year-old father, who is a lifelong Buckeye fan, is convinced that this is a vanilla offense because they don't want to show too much to Michigan State and Michigan. We shall see. I hope my dad is right, but I know there's a lot of consternation with the play calling. I've been frustrated myself, so hopefully the elder Mr. Biddle is right, and they're just not wanting to show too much to Michigan State and Michigan. Moving on, I don't think there's any drama with the college football playoff rankings, which will be released tomorrow night. J-Book, correct me if I'm wrong. I think 1 through 6, which is what everybody focuses on, the top 4 that are in, and then the first 2 that are out. I think it's going to be number 1, Clemson, number 2, Alabama, number 3, Ohio State, number 4, Notre Dame, just like last week, number 5, Iowa, just like last week, and then I think Oklahoma State jumps in there at number 6. Agree or disagree? You think anything changes there?
I agree with you with your top 3. But I think Oklahoma State's going to slide into that 4th spot. Notre Dame didn't look very good against Wake Forest yesterday. And you see what the Big 12 is doing right now. Oklahoma State, their defense is suspect, but they continue to win. You're going to see the playoff committee eventually vaunt them up a little bit with them continue to run the tables on their end. But I agree with you. One thing that's going to be interesting is where are they going to project Iowa at? Because if they jump Oklahoma State, are they going to move Notre Dame down to number 5 and bump Iowa down to 6? But that's going to be something to keep an eye on because the way things are shaking out, the Pac-12 is essentially eliminated. The Big 12, they pretty much have a round-robin tournament coming up. You could be looking at a situation in about 2 weeks, Dave, where you have Ohio State, Michigan, and Iowa hovering right around that top 7. Now, tell me the SEC homers and Paul Feinbaum, those guys wouldn't absolutely be pulling their hair out if there's an outside shot that you could see 2 Big Ten teams arguing if you have an undefeated Ohio State and a 1-loss Iowa. Once all the dust settles, right there, that's pushing to get into the playoffs.
So you do think there's going to be some drama. I like that. At least there's something to look forward to tomorrow night when the college football playoff rankings are released. And then, Jay, but before I let you go, Ohio State basketball tipped off their season yesterday. The Buckeyes winning 76-54 over Mount St. Mary's. Jay Sean Tate, sophomore forward, 21 points, 9 rebounds. I thought Jaquan Lau looked good in his debut. Too many turnovers, but he's a guy that he might be one and done. He's going to be two and done at the very least. I think he's going to be I know he's going to be a very exciting player to watch this year. I'm just excited to watch this team in general. Mark Loving, I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of his. I think, he's so up and down. He looks good against bad teams. But maybe this is a year where he puts it all together. And one more takeaway before I turn it over to you. I think it's a matter of time before Daniel Giddens is the starting center. Trevor Thompson did get the start, but Giddens played most of the way, and Giddens was the most effective of the two centers. He had 11 points and 6 rebounds, the freshman Giddens. I like him over the third-year sophomore Thompson, who is a transfer from Virginia Tech. So I also like Keita Bates-Diop. I lied to you. I want to throw that in there, too. I think Bates-Diop looks really good. So I'm excited about this team. They play in a tough conference. Of course, I don't know if they're going to make the tournament, but I'm excited. Your takeaways from Ohio State's basketball opener yesterday, Jay Book?
Young team, they have the potential. It's talented. I don't know how far they're going to go because the Big Ten is so deep. Tate and Lau, they can be a nice 1-2 punch. But the fun thing about this Ohio State team, Dave, is the expectations are so low from Buckeye Nation and nationally. If this team can find a way to really come together and start playing some basketball and shock some people, it would just make this season so much more enjoyable because the expectations are low compared to past seasons where, a lot of fans say Ohio State should be a Final Four team, at minimum Sweet 6 team, and when they underachieve, you see that all the debate is bad washed up, bad can't recruit, all the arguments that we've seen numerous times on the boards. But with the expectations so low and this is such a young team, I think they're going to shock a lot of people this year.
That's a great point. The pressure is off this team, and it's not like the pressure's off and they have like a bunch of guys who are just running around there. This is a very talented team. If you didn't see the opener, it doesn't matter. This is a very talented team, and they're going to be fun to watch. Yeah, they're going to have their ups and downs, and Jay Book's right. There's no pressure on these guys, and I think they're definitely going to be better than a lot of people thought. We'll see if they're going to be good enough to get in the tournament. I think there's no question that they're going to win 20 games again and keep Stad's 20-game winning streak per year going. But we'll see if they get in the tournament. But I agree with you. The pressure's off this team, and I like what I see out of this young group. And, man, if they can stay together next year, wow, they're going to be good. But hopefully this year they'll be really good. Programming note, we will interview Urban Meyer as usual on a Monday. We'll interview him today at 11:45 a.m., so look for our stories, bolts, and videos on what Coach Meyer has to say. We will also talk to assistant coaches and players, so we'll have wall-to-wall coverage throughout the day on Bucknuts. I will be co-hosting on 97.1 The Fan today from 1 to 3, Carpenter and Rothman. They're going to have me in there from 1 to 3 today, so check that out if you can. And also, if you can, try our buy 1 month, get 2 months free offer at Bucknuts. That's $9.95 for 3 months total. Buy 1 month, get 2 months free. It only lasts till this Friday, so make sure you take advantage of that while it lasts. $9.95 for 3 months takes you all the way through signing day and more. Thank you very much to Jonah Booker. J-Book always comes strong. Really appreciate it, my man. And thanks to the listeners out there. I appreciate you guys tuning into the show, and I hope you have a great day. Take it away, best damn band in the land.